Hello everyone, and as this is my last communication for the term, I'd like to use it to talk about what has occurred in the past term and where we intend to be moving forward into the future, starting from semester 2. Firstly, if we look over the events of last term, we looked at a time of rapid change that affected both our staff, our students and our families. There's nothing that we could do what occurred except to adjust very quickly to the circumstance. And can I say, as principal of this college, I'm so very proud of what was achieved by our staff and students over this time. And I'd also like to thank our parents and families for your patience and trust in the college during this time as well. Currently, we are in a process of gathering information about what we learned that was successful during the time when COVID-19 was around and we were doing the SBC at home. We will next week as a staff use this information to start working out how we will make sure that our teaching practices and methodologies change into the future so that we can use the best of what we've learned and make sure that we can adjust our own practices so we'll have better student engagement and likely improve student outcomes as well, which is what our main aim is in teaching and learning at the college. One thing that I would like to say as this college principal over the last term, there are many things that I'm proud of, and this college is a great college, we all know that. But some things that made it an even better college, as far as I'm concerned at least, is that I was so proud of how our staff were able to adjust in such a short period of time under what I would consider enormous stress and anxiety. And I would say the same about our students and families as well. It's not that the change was so dramatic, it was the speed in which the change occurred, I think, that made things so difficult. I'm very proud of how most of our young men were able to stand up and make the most of what occurred. We talked about making lemonade out of lemons during that time, and there were so many great examples of where our young men of action were able to do that. They showed great resilience, they showed great patience, and likewise, I was so proud of how our families worked with us during that period of time as well, and the patience and trust that you showed in the college during that time. The other thing that was difficult during that time that gives me a great sense of pride was the sense of energy that our staff had and students when they returned back to the college. It's always difficult to come back from a time of change, of rapid change, and then try to come back into what was done in the past, trying to also incorporate what we learned that was good practice as well. And that was done with great enthusiasm by our staff in the last weeks of this term. And as I've mentioned, we will continue with that next week so that starting semester 2, we will have continued better practice that will enhance the teaching and learning at this school going forward into the future as well. So from here, what will happen is that we're committed to learning from the experience and applying what we knew worked well for our students from the feedback that we received from them, from you and from our teaching staff. We're going to make sure that we make the most of what we can in the year ahead. Times are still uncertain. We're still relying on government guidelines, government feedback, but as that comes and as we can adjust what we can and cannot do, we will do so, and we will continue to communicate that to the families, our families, as much and as often as we can. The other thing is that we're also committed to walking the talk when it comes to resilience and being people of action as a teaching staff, as well as our expectations of that as students. And that will show out in the way that we present ourselves next term and the way that we present in our classes during next term and the way that we work with our young men and continue to engage them in the teaching and learning space. And if that can happen, and we all know that it will, then SBC will only become a better school than what it was in the past. So in closure, I look forward to working with all of you again next term and for the rest of this year, and I hope each of you will be able to take some time to relax and refresh over the holiday break. God bless and fight the good fight.